A thought just before we continue with the 9. Just a quick thought, something worthy of thought, further thought. When we are in the creative mode, we cannot move into indulgence. When we are not in the creative mode, we invariably will move into indulgence. That is the way of the mind. And so the object in life is to be absorbed in meaningful things. Of course, that's the challenge, to be always absorbed in meaningful things. Now we'll talk about the 9, the final number, the goal for all of us. The highest expression of life, as it has been said, as it manifests through sound and the spoken word. So the spoken word can be misused, abused, or it can be used as the medium to express the greatest aspect of life through love. It's interesting that all the thousands of books, millions of books that have been written about love, I'm not sure that I've ever read a book that includes the idea of the spoken word as the medium of love and the medium that gives rise to love. Nothing can be compared with the experience that comes with the exchange of wisdom between two people. And when the power rises in that and through that experience, one knows, one is able to put all of the other things in their place. Even the sexual element pales. Well, it doesn't pale by comparison, because we all know how beautiful it is to become intimate, in this case sexually intimate. Something magical really happens. It brings the absolute best out of people. When we fall in love, we can't do enough for our partner. Why is that? Because for the first time, I go back to my teenage years, the first time I fell in love, it was the first time somebody understood me. Father didn't understand me, my mother didn't understand me, kids in the neighborhood didn't understand me, but the first kiss awakens something. That first kiss awakens the love force. And what happens? We give ourselves totally to our boyfriend, girlfriend, or our lover. We don't even have to have the sexual element particularly. We just have to have the kiss. And that brings an intimacy that allows us, for the first time, to be received totally by our lover. Our lover opens up to us totally. And we are, some of us anyway, for the first time in our life, accepted. until we say the wrong things, of course, and then it turns to the opposite extreme. But isn't it a beautiful thing in that first kiss? And we're accepted. We let go of our ego completely at that moment. And the power arises, and what do we do spontaneously without thought? We are committed to serving this person, because this person has allowed us to experience that enormous power of love. And we say things to this person that we've never said to anyone else because of that deep, deep, intimate connection. And it may have always just started with a kiss. So if I mean, this can go on throughout life. So we meet somebody, and in that first kiss, we know whether this other person is going to open to us, has accepted us, and in that kiss is the promise of love. Not only the promise, it's the promise of love realized. What a beautiful moment that is. And so that awakens more powerfully to the 3, the 6, and the 9. Finally, we are taken seriously. Finally, we don't have to hide our thoughts. We find our voice for a period of time. Such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And so, anybody that is normal can feel that beautiful, beautiful thing, which happens somewhere around puberty, when this maturity has reached a certain point, and the love force is ready to awaken. And it's interesting, then you go into the sexual plane and you have an orgasm. This can happen for a woman. Men are often accused of it, and they roll over and go to sleep.
Anybody in this room?
But it's just for the sake of you women, we haven't forgotten that beautiful element. We haven't forgotten it, but the energy is spent. The energy is spent, it's gone. But it's still, but the connection has been made, and this beautiful warmth has occurred, and an intimacy. But then what happens? We begin to take liberties. You're mine now, you're my girlfriend, and I'm your boyfriend, and we begin to expect things. And it isn't long before the familiarity sets in, and we begin to take these liberties, and we begin to register each other's faults, and it isn't long before we're off to the next one. But we retain always that beautiful, beautiful moment when we were connected to the highest part of our being. And it can take place through such a thing as a kiss. We know it, don't we? We know in that kiss, we make that kiss, whether the person is open to us or isn't open to us. And when that happens, wow, we let go. We are humbled in a sense, and the power is felt, and it's marvelous. And every time it happens, it's just a marvel. But to sustain it is another matter. Is another matter altogether. And for that, we need to understand the growth process. When we've reached a certain point in our evolution, a point beyond judgment, it's interesting, we can live with almost anybody. Now, there was a question about compatibility. Who's? Not you.
Numbers.
Numbers. Compatibility.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come to that in a minute. No, we won't come to that until we finish the nines, and then we'll come to it. But when you think about that early moment when that power awakened, it wasn't just our lover that was the object of our affection and so on. Because when that power is awakened, everything in life is beautiful, except homework. And I remember that. I told you I was a major life lesson of 3 under a minor life lesson in the first 27 years. And I lived for that kiss. That was a wonderful thing. Never led to sex, to the actual sexual aspect, although I suppose kiss is part of the sexual activity. Because I was far too sensitive, but the kiss itself was all I needed to transport me to the place where life was beautiful. Life was beautiful, nature was, everything was beautiful. That's the power of love. Now we want to be able to achieve it without having to depend upon the kiss or the bedroom. We want to be able to create it in a way that becomes sustainable, and but not just sustainable, but just as exciting as it was after the kiss or during the kiss. Just excitable. When that power awakens, truly awakens, you don't think about sex. You can engage in sex, but you don't think about it because it's not necessary. You just want to go out and hug everybody because you're one with that force, and it's pure love. Pure love of life, not just this individual, because exclusivity of relationships, which the 9 often demonstrates, the 9 becomes too obsessive. And as soon as the 9s become, not obsessive, sorry, when the 9 becomes possessive, it's the beginning of the end. Because love is not something that arises through exclusivity. It doesn't mean that you can't have a partner throughout life with that one person. But if you are to evolve, you must embrace all people, like the story of Jesus, I suppose, or Gandhi. We have to be able to open to all people. We cannot be exclusive. And so when we come into the 8, for instance, we break the attachment, the possessiveness of things. If the 9 doesn't learn the 8, the 9 is lost.